We're spotlighting some of our favorite local stops right here in Southern Indiana on Southern Indiana Now. We're taking it to the streets, and there's lots of fun going to be seen. We definitely want to make sure you stay connected with all the things here at Southern Indiana Now. And we're back on Southern Indiana Now. Kelly Trask with you. We're so happy to have Connor Barnett with us today talking about Rock the Rind, a big festival, music festival that's kind of sprung up out of nowhere, but we like to grow stuff in Jackson County, so it makes sense that we'd be growing this festival. But we're here and we're going to talk about Rock the Rind, what it is, and how you can get connected to it. So, Connor, tell us a little bit about how this festival got started. Music fests are just kind of the rage right now, and you saw an opportunity to kind of capitalize on that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I appreciate you having me today. The last 3 years have been really just a whirlwind. So a small group of us at Brownstown Ewing Main Street started doing some community projects here 5 or 6 years ago. And, as we progressed and started doing more stuff, we had some shows there on the square in Brownstown at Heritage Park. And they were fairly small in size, especially compared to what we're doing now. 200 people max probably on a couple of them. But something that we had talked about early on and that was really important to us was having a festival in Brownstown. We didn't really know what that was going to look like, but Jackson County has great festivals between the Oktoberfest and Fort Bologna Days.
We knew how to celebrate with food.
We do, absolutely. So what that looks like, we didn't know. Knew the Watermelon Festival was wildly successful for a really, really long time, and then just kind of went downhill the last 10 years or so before they finally kind of wrapped it up in 2016. So at first, we weren't planning on bringing that back. We were going to do something new and fresh and try to kind of build the excitement. But as the conversations progressed, we did go that way. But how can we make it different than just food and craft vendors around the square? We wanted to do something a little bit out of the norm, I guess, especially in this area. So took a pretty big risk year one, booked a lot of talent compared to what we had in the past. Yeah. So went out on a limb, didn't really have the funds to cover it originally, but luckily we sold enough tickets and drinks and made it work. And it's just been really incredible how fast it's grown. We have a ton of sponsors and local support. It's been pretty incredible, the amount of businesses and people that have kind of rallied behind it. And if it wasn't for that, it wouldn't be possible. We do sell tickets and things are going really well, but to bring that amount of talent in such a small space, we're about a 4,000 cap. So it really takes that community involvement and support and sponsorship to make it happen.
Well, it's really cool that the idea just started with a seed. And that's literally like the whole thought behind a watermelon.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we love our things like that. So let's talk about the lineup for this year and how can people get tickets?
Yeah, we're really, really excited. So our headliners each night are Tracy Bird on Thursday, Justin Moore on Friday, and obviously Stephen Wilson Jr. on Saturday. So we've got 15 artists over 3 nights. And I always tell people, we have those big names to kind of draw everybody in, but the talent before that, we really focus on making sure from when it starts to the end, it's just full of incredible artists. So, we're really excited. Stephen is just, he's always been on our radar the last 3 years, obviously being local, and he's a tremendous artist. But I think I'm so happy we waited until year 3 when I feel like we have our feet underneath us, and his ascent the last year has been incredible. And I think we really
probably couldn't even get him next year if you tried.
Yeah, probably not. So, he would be on the high end of our budget.
You're like,
for sure.
I don't know. Who are you people again?
So it's going to be a lot of fun. We've been talking to his team. Steven's really excited. They're going to do some cool stuff and a different set list because he's really excited to be coming home.
Okay.
So that night is actually, we do our ticket structure. We do single day, general admission, pit, weekend, general admission and pit, and then we have our VIP. The VIP sold out in 2 weeks. Saturday, single day across the board is sold out. So the only way to get tickets for Saturday now is that weekend pass because we have that allocated amount of tickets, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. We're expecting somewhere around 4,000 to 4,500 people for that. So it's gonna be awesome.
I love that. So what's the website where people can get their tickets if they want to go ahead and snag one of those weekends?
Yeah, rocktherrind.com. You can get your tickets there. We've got all of our information up. We've got the set list on the website as far as like artists, when the set times are going to start and when the gates are going to open. You can also follow us on Rock the Rind on Facebook, and we're starting to push more and more information out there as we get closer.
Okay.
So.
I know it's too early to talk about next year, but the point is there's going to be a next year, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. We're in really good shape, and we've already started kind of having those conversations with artists. You got to get a pretty good jump on that.
Yeah.
So we've opened the dialogue, and as soon as this is wrapped up here in a couple weeks, we'll be heading towards 2026.
I love it. It's so exciting. Well, definitely get your tickets. RockTheRind.com. Those weekend passes are still available. We'll be back here on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask. The sweetest weekend of the summer is coming to Jackson County Thursday, July 31st through Saturday, August 2nd. Stephen Wilson Jr., Justin Moore, and Tracy Berg will headline Rock the Rind and the Jackson County Watermelon Festival in Brownstown. Join us on the Courthouse Square for 3 days of music featuring 15 of the hottest artists in country music, delicious eats, cold drinks, and of course, all things watermelon. Don't miss Stephen Wilson Jr. Homecoming and the sweetest weekend of the summer, July 31st through August 2nd in Brownstown. Tickets available now at RockTheRind.com. And we're back on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask, and we're visiting with Matt and Vanessa with New Legacy. They're located actually in Seymour, Indiana. But if you're watching the show and you have a business in Indiana or Southern Indiana specifically, they can definitely take care of any of your money questions. And so that's what we're here today. We're talking with Matt. So let's talk about some money questions, especially on the business ownership side. We have a lot of small business, a lot of big business, medium, every kind of business you can think about in Southern Indiana. I know you've had the opportunity to work with several folks, and as they grow and investing back into their business, I know you get barraged with a lot of questions. So let's talk about some of those today. What are some of the most common questions you get asked, and how can people kind of navigate the financial waters when they're selling widgets or whatever it is that they're doing with their own business?
Yeah, absolutely. I think probably one of the most common things that we run into is how to save for themselves. You know, business owners are really good about doing their business and investing back in their business, but how they monetize it, I think, is something that's a miss on a lot of small business owners trying to put money back for themselves, or how eventually do I retire or sell in this business, and what does that look like, and how am I going to invest that money? I think that's probably the most common thing that we run into. Tax strategies go along with that. Tax efficient investing, what makes the most sense? How is the best way to do that and make a retirement for themselves?
So let's talk about business structures a little bit. I know people get confused between LLCs and S corps, and I can be this, but file as that. So what are some of the most, are LLC still kind of the most common for smaller companies? And then what do people need to be having in their thoughts as far as, am I an LLC? Am I not?
I don't know that matters as much investment wise when it comes to investing, but there are a lot of different strategies when it comes to that. And I know that the strategy has been different of business types over the years, depending on tax law changes. And tax law changes have been inevitable. Got another one yet this year. So see how that shakes out and what implications that has for business owners.
Well, I bet you don't have any grass growing under your feet as far as trying to learn everything, because it probably just has a ripple effect on how companies do prepare for trying to build wealth, or at least trying to build a nest egg.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever there are these tax law changes and business owners are trying to figure out the best way to capitalize on that, it's our job to interpret that as well and try to help them try to figure out what's going to be in their best interest long term. Of course, it is kind of a game. Well, tax laws change, and we got to just mitigate what we can right now for the knowns, right? The knowns, knowing that it's probably going to change.
Yeah. So when a person has a business, do they need to kind of treat it like they do their personal finances? For example, we're always told to pay yourself first, put a little money back, and then on your personal. Do you do that on a business? So if someone's thinking about a business, how do they invest back in? Do they save a certain amount a month? Is there a goal? Do we do 1 to 6 months, for expenses? How does that work?
That's a great question. I really think that it just depends on where the life of the business is. If it's a startup, obviously that business owner is going to be plowing money into the business to get it going. Maybe they were really successful early, and then we can strategize for that and put money back. It really just comes down to cash flow and what's appropriate. Every business is different. There's not a rule book on how to do that. Obviously, the pay yourself first applies when you can, as we talked about before.
If you're lucky.
Some business owners don't take a paycheck or get a paycheck, or maybe they had a really good year and they get to do some things that they probably wouldn't normally in that year, but next year may be different. So I think it's always changing and not a real rule book to that, but paying yourself first definitely still applies.
Still a good rule.
Yes.
Okay. So regardless on your individual side or the business side. Okay. And should businesses, if they're able to kind of save a little money for those rainy days that, how companies face those, cash flow times, should they be investing that, or should it be liquid, or what should they do with those funds if they're able to kind of put anything back?
Yeah, I think, again, if you can, if the business owner or the entity is able to do that, then absolutely. All comes down to their business type, what their cash flow needs are or could be.
So do you have some strategies for helping companies come up with retirement options or investing into those employees for, future years?
Absolutely. Several different plans when it comes to employer type of retirement plans. And it just depends on the size of the business and how much everybody's willing to participate, the employees included, what makes the most sense.
All right, fantastic. Well, Matt, if anyone's watching and want to get connected with your office, what's the best way to do that?
You can always call the office or find us on the website or find us right here on 2nd Street.
Easy to do. All right, we'll be back on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask.
Join me, Jay Hubbard, weekdays from 6 to 10 every morning. It's Jay's Morning Wake Up Call, blending today's greatest country hits with local news, weather, and a couple laughs. Jay's Morning Wake Up Call on 92.7 WXKU.
And we're back on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask. We're talking all things farmers market. I know we talk about this a lot on the show because it's so important to the culture in Southern Indiana. We love a good farmers market. And Carrie's here with us today. We're going to talk about farmers markets, and we're thinking, how many more things can we talk about? There's a lot to talk about on farmers market. So first of all, we want to know what are some of the things people can find? I mean, it's kind of become the trend, as we were kind of joking about earlier, to get a little drinky drink, and you go out on a Saturday morning and, what happens? I mean, people think, I don't want to I go buy some lettuce and I go home and I can get that at the store, but you can't get that lettuce at the store.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting, and we are in a great time right now because everything changes. Mm-hmm. Each week, something is new. We even have new vendors coming each week because something has come in.
Okay. I love that.
So like corn came in, boom, new vendors. We should have melons coming soon. So that would be a new vendors. So I think that it is an experience, right? Yeah. So you don't really know what you're going to find. And we aren't just produce too. So people come and they find Father's Day gifts, or they find things for their classrooms or whatever it might be. So I think that it is take your time, walk around, meet the people, because they're the ones producing it, which is really great.
Well, and that opens it up because then you get to talk to the vendor about, well, wait, how do I grow this at home? Or what do you cook this with? You don't get that at maybe a retailer.
Right.
Yeah.
We've got someone right now selling plants that she's talking to people how to take care of them, because you don't just put them in the ground and leave them. These ones you have to bring and pull up.
Oh, you're not supposed to do that. That explains half my garden's dead.
So I think it is really kind of great to talk to the people who know what they're doing, and then learn how to do it yourself.
Yeah, because sometimes when you go to the store, it can be intimidating to buy something new because you don't have time to learn, figure it out, or what this goes in or what it pairs well with. But at a farmer's market, the game changes.
Right. Even our meat vendors talk about recipes for the meat. So it's really nice to talk to people who know what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome when you can do that. That's for sure. All right, Carrie, speaking of knowing what they're doing, you guys have put together such an awesome farmer's market. So somebody listening that maybe is responsible for a farmer's market in their community, tell me about a new program that you have now that helps make sure nothing goes to waste.
Sure, yeah. So we were fortunate enough to receive a grant from the federal government. We actually applied for it 2 years ago, and last year it wasn't funded. So this year it was, where we are able to purchase unsold produce at the end of each market. And we are taking that to Anchor House in our local community, which is a shelter. We're not putting that in the pantry. We're giving it directly to the residents. So they get fresh, it's meat, it's produce, it's fruits. They get that to cook that day and just use up that fresh stuff. And we hopefully will have that this whole season.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Grant opportunities. So that's one of the things that if they're running a farmer's market, they should get involved with the communities of practice, but also keep their eyes open for anything that's coming out that's grant related.
Well, I love the heart behind that, regardless. So maybe some vendors can just get on board of donating their extra things left over just because they have a heart for others. So tell me some of the things that you love, that you find, your staples each and every week at the farmer's market, and what kind of experience is it and sort of thing.
Sure. So it's funny because we have our farmer's market has an information booth right as you you walk up. So if people have questions or they want to learn about being a vendor or they just don't know where something's located, they can come chat with us. But it is always where are the tomatoes? Where's the corn? Like that sort of thing. But also, in addition, we have vendors who are selling, we have sourdough vendors, and that is really trendy, and people are loving it. So finding those sorts of folks. And it's funny because people find their favorites. Yeah. But then I also hear people saying, I tried that last week. I'm going to try this week. So it's experiencing the whole market and kind of walking around and figuring out what they like. Now, there are some folks who come and beeline it straight to where they want to go. Yep. They know exactly where they're going. They come every week. Right. But then some people you find that kind of wander and get what they want, but then also get things they're like, I want to try that. Yeah, exactly. That's super fun. Also, of course, you have the outdoor farmers market. Yes. But you guys have leveled up your game, and you have an indoor farmers market. So let's talk about when that is. And just because the season gets a little chilly out doesn't mean that the produce stops growing. They don't know. The animals are still there too.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
We do have an indoor market, and that takes place in the Jackson County Visitor Center, which is located on Broadway, and we have that the third Saturday of every month starting in October. So we go October through April inside just for 2 hours, 10 to 12 in the Jackson County Visitor Center, and then we go back outside starting on Mother's Day. So it's just kind of a way to get some produce is there, a lot of baked goods. Yeah. But then also some of your winter staples. So that's a lot of sweet potatoes, the hearty vegetables, the root vegetables, so to speak. Yeah. And then all of our meat vendors come to those too.
That's super fun. Yeah. You definitely get all the tips and tricks, and you learn all the things that you don't necessarily get with the Google search. So,
right. Exactly.
Yeah, because you get the heart behind it. You get the story. So if someone's thinking about a vendor, real quick, Carrie, how many things do they need to have to be a vendor? Do they need to plan for I need to bring 17 pallets, or what do they need to bring?
Right. So I think that it just depends on what you have, right? Yeah. So we've got some vendors who are artisans, and they, have their products that they bring each week. But then also we've got the fresh produce vendors, and it's really what's on your vines, right? So
pick what you got and bring it. Yeah.
We also have a program with rookie vendors, which are 18 and under vendors. Okay. And so we have a new rookie vendor that came out this last week because he got produce. Okay. So he's like, some things came in.
Super excited.
He brought what he had, and he sold out of what he had, which was great.
All right. Where can they find you, get more information? Should they call, check you out online? What's the best way to get connected, Carrie?
Right. So we are actually under the Jackson County Chamber, and all of our information is on their website. So we've got a vendor handbook that people can take a peek at if they have an interest. Also, my email and my phone number is on that site.
Awesome. Yeah. Definitely find Carrie, and you can get connected with the farmers market if you'd like to come to this one in Jackson County, or you can check out the local farmers market. We'll be back here on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask. The sweetest weekend of the summer is coming to Jackson County Thursday, July 31st through Saturday, August 2nd. Stephen Wilson Jr., Justin Moore, and Tracy Berg will headline Rock the Rind and the Jackson County Watermelon Festival in Brownstown. Join us on the Courthouse Square for 3 days of music featuring 15 of the hottest artists in country music, delicious eats, cold drinks, and of course, all things watermelon. Don't miss Stephen Wilson Jr. Homecoming and the sweetest weekend of the summer, July 31st through August 2nd in Brownstown. Tickets available now at rocktherrind.com. And we're back on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask, and we are so honored to have with us. We have Dan and Jordan with us from the Jackson County Community Foundation. It's actually called the Community Foundation of Jackson County, but we're getting a name out there. That's all that matters. Yep. So tell us a little bit about, so with someone watching, they're in Southern Indiana, chances are they have a community foundation in their neck of the woods, right?
Yes, they do. There's one in every county, and a couple counties have two.
Oh, okay. So let's talk about what a community foundation does and how can people interact.
Well, first, thanks for inviting us to be here and talk with you, Kelly. Community foundations really have a pretty broad portfolio in what we do. We try to help nonprofits and including some governmental units do the good work that they're good at doing in the community to make life better here across Jackson County. We provide grants to help with programming that nonprofits want to continue or to create new here in the county. We've helped parks around the county with equipment, just dedicated a new shelter house down at Crothersville Countryside Park, for example. We help volunteer fire departments around the county, and we've bought headgear for Seymour Fire Department. We've been told that has helped them at fires already. We also provide people with opportunities to go to college through our scholarship program. I think, Jordan, we have 72 total scholarship funds now that we administer. Coming up is our fall grant cycle. It's a competitive grant that really does a lot of good work in the community. We've gone from having, I think, about $25,000 a year in that program 12 years ago, to this year we should have more than $160,000 available. So we're happy with that work, that it helps so many local nonprofits help people all across the community.
Well, speaking of that fall grant cycle, Jordan, let's talk about this. We got some pretty important dates that people need to remember, and how can they get connected with the Community Foundation?
Yeah, so the fall grant cycle, the deadline for that application is coming up July 31st.
Okay.
Our office closes at 4 p.m. that day.
So get it. Make sure you get it at 3:59, just to make Jordan's life lovely.
Yeah, and that's open to local nonprofits and government entities.
Okay.
We've addressed all kinds of different issues, as Dan brought up. Countryside Park, Shelter House, Sika's art camp this summer was funded by that program. So that's coming up July 31st.
So any nonprofit can apply. Do you have to be in Jackson County?
Not necessarily. Most grants are awarded within Jackson County. We've supported a youth camp outside the county in the past.
That makes sense. Youth from here could attend it.
Youth
So I get the
there,
connections there. So that's good to know that there's some flexibility if it makes sense. So, okay, so you have that one coming up, and then
and then August 18th is our scholarship.
Yes.
So incoming seniors have until August 18th to submit a scholarship. over last spring we awarded more than $200,000 in scholarships for local students. So that deadline's coming up August 18th. If you want more information about either one of those, cfjacksoncounty.org, or you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, X, I guess is what it's called now. But
I still call it Twitter. I don't know. I forever will.
All the socials, find us there. We can get you more information.
Okay, so if you are a senior going into your senior year, you basically should be applying right now, right?
That's right.
Okay, yep. August 18th comes up fast.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. All right, no rest. Get it done, kids.
That includes the application for the Lilly Community Scholar, which is just a really fantastic scholarship, full ride.
Yeah. I will say my son was a recipient of that this past year.
Great.
So in his county. So in the county we live in. So I think that's great.
Yeah, and I should say too, it's a very simple application process. We have moved that online this year. So I think the service is called Smarter Select. And so you'll just have to create a simple account for that, fill out all the questions and some documentation, and then you're set to go. We do have a staff member, Lori Miller, who can help you with either the scholarship or the fall grant application.
And most kids will be living in Jackson County when they apply, or is it flexible on that too?
Most scholarships, you need to live in the county. You need to be graduating from one of the five county high schools. We do have a one scholarship program that is actually awarded to a Columbus East graduating senior. Kenny Warbritton lives down in Columbia, but he grew up here in Seymour, was a member of our board at one time. He created a scholarship fund to benefit a Columbus East student. That's where he taught and retired from.
Yeah. All right. I love that. People get to set their own rules.
Yep.
So if someone's doing some legacy planning and thinking about setting a scholarship up in someone's honor, do they work with your office to do that as well?
Yep. They can come in, talk with me and Jordan. We'll find out what they want to do, who they want to help. It's kind of broad. Some scholarships, Kelly, are focused on one high school. Some folks open it up to the whole county, all five high schools. Some want to make sure you're going to Purdue.
Oh.
Some make sure you're going to
Seems
IU.
rude.
Somebody's got to go
I just
there.
lost all my Purdue list.
Some want to make sure that you're not.
That's right. We're going to give you money if you don't go there. We'll give you money if you do. It doesn't matter.
And, some people want to zero in
Purdue's
on a
good.
specific
Just throwing that out there.
Program at college. Others leave it open to the kids.
Okay. I love that.
But it's a good way of giving back to community and leaving a family legacy.
Well, the point is, if you definitely have a scholarship interest or you definitely want to set up something, leaving a legacy behind for someone, you can connect with your community foundation. If you'd like some more information about the Community Foundation of Jackson County, you've got two great people that you could speak with, Dan and Jordan. They'll get you connected with all the things here in Southern Indiana. We'll be back on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask. Thanks for hanging with us today on Southern Indiana Now. I'm Kelly Trask. Want to give a shout out to our producer, Sean Hildreth. Also want to remind you that you can get the show in a lot of different capacities and all the places that your favorite show can be downloaded, including YouTube, our website at southernindiananow.com. You can also check out Apple, Spotify, and iHeart. We'll be back here next week for a brand new episode. Make sure you're here for it. I'm Kelly Trask.